This conference will now be recorded.
Before we begin, we must provide a disclaimer that the following information provided is not investment advice. Our methods, teachings, and content are for educational purposes only. All materials and lessons are protected assets of Market Making Strategies LLC. Any plagiarism or sharing of our content is strictly prohibited, and any violators are subject to applicable laws. So, with that being said, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a lovely weekend. I'm not sure how it is in other parts of the country or countries, but it was rather nice here in Miami. Weather's changing, so we're starting to get a bit better temperature. Although it was a bit cloudy, overall it was nice. Hope you all had a lovely weekend yourselves, and we're ready here to trade. Now today is Veterans Day, so the banks are closed, a lot of schools are closed, people are off of work, there's parades going on. So a bit of common sense will tell you that there's a good chance there'll be a lot less activity today being a holiday. I was scanning around all morning hoping to find something, and it's a slow morning. It's expected. But with that being said, with what we know in certain market conditions, certain stocks can get affected. So opportunities can certainly arise when the market opens. So the first one we're going to look at is Mara. Now, as you can see, yes, there's volume in Mara at 7.6, which is good. We know it's trading because crypto is flying. That's going to have a great impact considering Mara has what their business basically is that they mine Bitcoin and Ethereum and have huge facilities full of them. So clearly, when the price is fluctuating and it's going up higher, their stock price is going to be relatively higher also. So keep that on your list. Donna did say there was 22 ask. I looked back, there was 422. That's absolutely not what we're looking for. That could be moved, as just a bit of buy. It's not enough to really create a strategy or create a plan off of. But we do have 22 ask. The beauty about Mara, which I do like, is even if the print personality is not high, we have a beautiful increments, 50-cent increments. I absolutely love that, especially when we know there'll be volatility in this stock, there will be movement. There is 50-cent increments, so offer 3 to 4 print personality controlling like 22 with the right volume, with the right alignment. You won't need much in this because, again, as I told you, look at these increments. So this could be an interesting stock. So Mara, put on your list. Number 2 is DJT. Now DJT was interesting because right around here, so about 740, there was 4 to 5 99 prints. There was 5 prints at 35, and there was some buying above. It was definitely not quite a take bar, but somebody was establishing a position, and with the 99s and this short-term alignment with the 35 controlling, that certainly can say short-term. On the way coming down, we had selling, but it was more of the selling to bring it down to a level that they wanted for a pullback. And typically, when we see that shares are available for shorting, that tells you there's not many people who are looking to short today. So keep that in mind. Those are just one of the hints that we can take into account. As I watched it, what am I looking for coming down? I'm looking that when it gets to certain levels, I want to see more build on the way down. And I didn't see much at 34.50, but we definitely see some at 33.50. We definitely see 34, but it's only 2 prints. It wasn't nothing special, but still, it is still doing what is expected, even if it's not to a high, to the exact amount that we would prefer. So put DJT on your list. As we say, a trade, what would I be looking for? This 33.50 is holding extremely well. Not the greatest sign that you see a few prints there because that might need a little pullback. But I would suspect that as much as even this print, this 33.40 area, 33.50 area, this would be a perfect place if it was to hold on to prior to open for it to then get the volume, get the short-term alignment and prints back in and make a case for moving back towards 35. But we could easily see, as we still have 25 minutes before the open and the volume is very low at 28,000, it could easily just trade to above 33. But that's definitely number 2. I had to put PLTR on. It's provided very slow but very easy to read dollar trades for since it's had its earnings last week. As I said, we are very light on stocks today, so this is going on. Now, what do I find interesting in the money flow today pre-market that I haven't seen in prior pre-markets last week was in prior pre-markets last week, we saw nothing but acquiring. This has now had a very long move. If you look over here on your far right, this would be the daily. You can see from 40, it's gone all the way to 60. That's a huge move. That's a 50% move for a stock like PLTR. That's a big move for any company. So now that we're at 60 psych, I've noticed that the money flow this morning has been a lot more selling. And what more particularly is I'm seeing some short-term building for the short, 60-50, 60-50. I saw more earlier on, 60-50. So keep that in mind that there is the prints available for a short-term move to 60, and 60 we should obviously be a massive psychological level. We will need to see what happens at 60. But I can tell you, if this is intending to trade, you don't want to see just 60 bids. You want to see selling. You want to see selling coming in all the way above. You want to see the volume towards selling. You want to see the 60 prints, and you want to show that they're going to put some prints below it to say we're going to be going lower today. So keep that in mind. This is what the high majority play I'd be looking for in PLTR. Now, NVIDIA, again, this has had nothing but buying. This has had building. I saw beautiful prints at 148. We can see in the tape 148.50. We got some, I would say this is going to be a 2 to 3 print personality overall for now, and we're trading in 20-cent increments. That could easily change in the open, but we do know NVIDIA does have a lot of days that it trades 20-cent increments. I'm not a fan at all ever of trading NVIDIA in the open when it's at 20 cents. It just has far too many big market makers, far too much volume for it to be trading in such a tight increment. I only trade NVIDIA when in the open it's trading 50-cent increments. That gives me a couple of advantages. One, for a stock that could trade easily $4 or $5 of range in a day, why would you be doing that in 20-cent increments? That doesn't make sense. You'd be doing that in 50-cent increments. So when I see this trading in 50-cent increments around the open time, I know that it's going to be a rangier stock. And how do I need that validated? We know this always has the volume, but I want to see clear money flow here. And I don't want it to be massive build type prints. This is the type of prints I want to see. So keep that in mind for the open. You want to see 50-cent increments. The volume is going to be there, but you don't want to see massive build prints or massive sell prints. You want quite clearly somebody's controlling the stock with short-term prints, short-term controlling prints, and using the range of the stock that day. And with 150 above, and we know we've got 148 and 148.50, this would be a good opportunity to look for this stock to make that move towards such a huge psych level like 150, which becomes a magnet. Now, I've looked at a lot of these cheap stocks. They're just all falling off. They're breaking key levels. So it's not even worth talking about. I've been watching this one just a little bit. Obviously, it does not look very pretty. Looks very quanty on the chart. But in cheap stocks, sometimes in pre-market, because they're cheap, because they have large orders on the matrix. So what you'll notice sometimes is that they will, the building would look very quanty, but then when it opens, if it gets the right type of volume, it could just as easily trade. So if this came in and started getting 5, 6, 700,000 plus in volume, and it was all showing green, all showing money, there's no reason a stock like this can't make its way back up to 275 of the high. So keep this one on your list also. So we do have some opportunities. We got 5 on there. As we know, there's nothing as clear as we want, I would say. But Mara, DJT, PLTR, NVIDIA, and NUWE are my stocks for the morning. Now, is there anything that you guys have seen that you want me to have a look at? And yes, you are absolutely right, Madav, 22.50. That is significant. Add that to the 22. Now, 22 was only 4 prints. 22.50 has gone and done 10 prints. About 20 minutes from the open. Now, 2 things can happen with that. Somebody might want to build upon those prints, bring it back to 22, possibly below. But 22 being a large psych number 22 being where we saw the first set of controlling prints. I would suspect with what we have going on with prices of the cryptocurrencies that this would most likely want to trade down, build the 2250 above 22, see volume, and we would love to see it go back towards 2250. This will make it a case for a very well-controlled stock going into the open. Thank you for that, Badav. Anyone else? Do you have any other stocks you'd like me to have a quick look at, give you my input, or any stocks from last week you might have a question on? Please feel free to ask me now so I can help you be prepared in the open for your stock. Any questions? Any questions? My pleasure, Anthony. But I haven't said I'm leaving yet. Any other questions? Okay, well, let's get ready to trade. As always, be patient in the open. Make sure you plan your trade. Plan 2 options. The first option being the high percentage that you have planned for that, what you see. The second option is always to be ready if that trade at that moment doesn't work out in your favor. That plan was accepted, that plan was understood, and when you have planned the opposite option, it will keep your mind in succinct and in a flow state. So keep that in mind. Let's work together. You all have a lovely morning and happy Veterans Day.